As far as other locals, if you want to travel around the country, if you want to go to local 111, 611, 769, if you want to go sign 47 or 1245 or 387, you can do a book signing trip and go to these different locals if you want to. You have to make sure as soon as you get a groundman call, a call out of one of those locals, depending on whatever one it was or is, you have to make sure that what other local you're on, if you're on 5 other different locals, you have to make sure that you call that hall and tell them to take your name off the out of work book. So that way you're not quote unquote double booking. Hello, welcome to episode 31 of CTQ. CTQ is a segment I do on this channel called Cruise the Questions, and this is where I take your guys' questions and I answer them here for you guys to help you guys on your blue collar career pathways. Now, a lot of these questions are regarding the lineman trade, but the way I look at it is getting started in the lineman trade is like one of the hardest, most competitive trades to get started in. So that puts it right up there in the tier list of like top 1, 2, 3 trades in my opinion. So if you can learn how to get started in the lineman trade, I think any other trade should be a cakewalk of sorts. Anyway, I'm a journeyman lineman by trade. I've been in the lineman trade since 2017. I went through a union IBW lineman apprenticeship in the Northwest from 2017 to 2020. And before that, I did power line true clearance. Before that, I worked in a fab shop welding. Before that, a mechanic shop during high school. So trades is all I really know. And with this channel, Blue Collar EDU, this is where I can try to help you guys on your guys' blue collar career pathways. It's not easy, right? If you don't have somebody you know, a family member, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a buddy who works in the trades and you want to get started in the trades, it can be it can be hard. Like you don't know where to start. You don't know what steps. You don't know what certifications to get. Do you go union? Do you go non-union? Like all these things, there's a lot of variables when it comes down to getting started in a trade. And with this platform and with the CTQ is one way where I'm able to help you guys with your guys' questions and then help others who might have similar questions. With that being said, you guys can submit your questions a few different ways. One of the best ways, and a lot of you guys have been doing this, and I really appreciate, is if you go to the website at bluecollaredu.com, there's a tab in the top right corner to contact us, and you can put your questions there. Those questions I get directly in my mailbox. I see those. And so I'm able to read those, and I'm able to, know that I got your guys' questions. Another way is if you just email them to austin@bluecollaredu.com. That's a great way to do it also. Sometimes those questions might go in the spam or the junk. So sometimes I don't see those, but that's a great way. Another way is just put them in the comments down below. And I'll take questions from there as well. I like the comment section also because that's a good way for people who might come across your comment, read your comment. They can give you their perspective, their answer, and, just kind of have a community of people to help each other out here because it ain't easy. And I don't know everything. But with that being said, your guys' questions about getting started in a trade can be about any trade. I know enough people across various different trades. If I don't have an answer or an idea from my experience, from my knowledge, I will get an answer for you guys. Like I said, I don't know everything. This is just me using my experience, my knowledge, and my perspective to help you guys. So what I say, I'm pretty sure is right. I'm confident. But if you hear me talking about something and it's not right, please correct me in the comments. And then that way people can know that, hey, Austin's wrong about whatever he's talking about. Don't listen to him and whatever. But this is just a good way to me try to help you guys. So with all that being said, I'm going to be going over 3, maybe 4 questions from those of you who have submitted questions from the website, bluecollaredu.com, questions or concerns. And with that being said, let's hop into question number 1. Question number 1 is coming from a guy named Benjamin. Benjamin says, hey, Austin, I'm pursuing becoming a lineman. I have my Flagger Cert, CPR First Aid, and my Class A CDL with no restrictions. I'm in the PDX metro area and I'm curious about the signing the books process. If I sign locally, do the other locals within the Northwest communicate between one another to place guides that are willing to travel? Or is it possible for me to sign the books with multiple locals? Really appreciate everything you do to help guys get started. So, Benjamin, this, from my understanding, kind of a gray area, but when it comes to the Northwest, you're going to have really four locals you can sign. You can sign at, and that's IBW Local 125, which is Portland, Oregon, IBW 77, which is Seattle, Spokane, in the Tri Cities, and you'll have 659, which is Southern Oregon. There might be one more, but those are the three big ones. You cannot sign all of those books in the Northwest. You can only sign one, and they do communicate with each other. So if you sign 125 and you think you're going to go sign 77 out of the Tri-Cities or Spokane or Seattle or 659 in Medford, Oregon, down south, they will know. Okay, they do communicate with each other. So just know if you're from the you're from the PDX metro area, I mean, just sign 125, which is right there in your backyard. That's where my ticket is out of. That's where I signed the books originally. That's where I got started. That's my local union hall because I'm from a town north of Portland, like an hour. And the other locals were further away. So that's what I know. So when it comes to the Northwest, you can only sign one of those books. And 125 is probably a good place to start. And if you want to sign 659 or 77, from my understanding is you have to take your name off one of the other books you're on and sign that one. You can quote me on that, but it's also might not be a bad idea just to call 125 and ask them yourself. I think Cheryl there, she's a very nice lady. She can give you that answer so you know 100%, but that's my understanding. As far as other locals, if you want to travel around the country, if you want to go to local 111, 611, 769, if you want to go sign 47 or 1245 or 387, you can do a book signing trip and go to these different locals if you want to. I don't think that is a bad thing to do, from my understanding. A lot of people do it, and it's just you have to make sure as soon as you get a groundman call, a call out of one of those locals, depending on whatever one it was or is, you have to make sure that what other local you're on, if you're on 5 other different locals, you have to make sure that you call that hall and tell them to take your name off the out of work book. So that way you're not quote unquote double booking, they call it. So in the Northwest, you can only sign one of the books, but you could sign 125. You can go sign 111 in Denver. You can go sign 611 in Albuquerque. You can go sign 769 in Phoenix. You can sign 47 in SoCal or 1245 in North Cal or 387, which I think is Vegas. I could have that number wrong. But anyhow, hopefully you get the idea of what I'm trying to say here. And that, from my knowledge, from my experience, that is what you're able to do when it comes to signing the books. All right, let's hop into question number 2. Question number 2 is coming from a guy named Bailey. Bailey says, "Good morning, sir. I'll start off by saying thank you for the light you're bringing to the trades. You're helping many young men and women who think college is the only route. It's amazing to see. Currently, I'm a third step inside wireman apprentice out of local 640 here in Phoenix. I'm third generation IBW, so I know for a fact that's the route I want to continue to stay on. A few months ago, I met a lineman with Arizona Utility Company, and after a lot of conversation and research, I feel that would be a much better fit for me than inside wireman. The problem I'm having is all linemen I know have gone through the utility company's apprenticeship, APS or SRP. I'm actually interested in 769 and the Swole Cat apprenticeship because of the travel opportunities. I know you're a 769 member and was hoping on getting some more insight and advice on the Swole Cat apprenticeship. Would it be beneficial to finish my current apprenticeship? Again, thank you for all you do. Take care, brother. Stay safe out there." So I'm not a 769 member. I've worked at a 769 jurisdiction now for the last several years, on and off. I'm a 125 as my home local, which is Portland, Oregon, whatever. Anyway, to right off the bat, should you finish your current apprenticeship? I say yes. I think it's a good idea, and I've said this in previous videos, previous CTQs. I think it's a beneficial, good idea to, if you're in apprenticeship, um, before even going through like the application process and really wanting to jump ship to another career, I don't think it's a bad idea to finish out the apprenticeship you're in, especially if you're already in an apprenticeship. Why not get that experience in that apprenticeship, learn as much as you can about that trade you're in, become a journeyman in that trade for you, inside wireman and electrician, and take that skill set with you. Take that journeyman ticket with you. I don't know how old you are, so I don't know that that really even matters. But if you're already, let's see, you said you were third step, so you're probably a third, almost halfway through it. Why not just finish it out? You have another couple of years to go. Just I say just do it. That way, when it comes time to interviewing for Swolecat, you can talk about that apprenticeship opportunity. You can talk about the skills. You can talk about the fact that you've already been through an apprenticeship and you know how it works, and you're confident that you can do the apprenticeship. And that's going to stand out in your interview. And it's going to show the guys at Swolecat on the apprenticeship board committee that, hey, this guy's already stuck out one apprenticeship, and he already has an experience in the electrical industry, in an electrical trade, that he could be a pretty good fit for the lineman trade. Granted that you're willing and able to obviously do the travel, because that's something you mentioned you want to do. The physical labor of the job, which it can be hard, digging holes and things like that, working in the brutal heat, all that stuff. I'm sure you all know about that, because you said it sounds like you've talked to other linemen and you know what it's like. So I say finish out the apprenticeship. I think that's only going to help you when it comes time to do an interview at Swolecat. They're going to see that as, hey, like I was saying, this guy's already been through apprenticeship. He has electrical experience already in a trade. Blah 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 blah. I think that'll only help you out. For Swolecat, there's not a whole lot I can tell you about Swolecast specifically. I don't know what you want to know. I think just the biggest thing is when you go apply and you interview, you'll be called out as a pre-apprentice, and you will work as a pre-apprentice until you get your orientation date. And the orientation is the week-long thing you'll go do in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the apprenticeship training facility. And it's a whole lot of things. First thing being the physical orientation test. I have a video on that, or if you just type it on YouTube, Swolecat physical evaluation, it'll pop up and you can learn more about that. That's going to be one of the biggest kind of hurdles you're going to have to look out for and accomplish those tasks, because those things weed out guys who are not able to physically complete that physical evaluation day. And there's other things within the orientation, but that's going to be the biggest thing. So past that orientation, you finish all of that, and then you become an indentured apprentice after you complete orientation. So that's really all I can tell you. You know what I mean? You know about the different states within Swolecat: Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. I think there's maybe one more in there. So you know about the travel between those states. Usually, I think they try to keep, if you are a Arizona member or Arizona resident, they try to keep you within the state if they can, if there's plenty enough work for you to do. And they try to keep you at home, but don't ever think that, don't take my words, for granted. Like you can, and they will send you to Albuquerque, or they will send you to the other states. So don't rule that out. But yeah, man, that's what I would tell you. Complete that electrician apprenticeship. Get that journeyman ticket. It's going to look good on your resume. It's going to look good in an interview. It's going to work good for you because you're going to get more broad experience. And then you can even take that electrical experience you have, that journeyman experience, that ticket. And if you want to start your own little side gig, make a little bit of money when work is slow in the lineman trade, maybe you get laid off as an apprentice. Hey, I don't know what that exactly looks like for an apprentice if you're able to go work for 640 as an inside wireman, or at least just do side work, because now you know what it's like to be an electrician. You know how to do that kind of work. It's only going to work in your benefit. So that's what I would tell you. All right, let's hop into question number 3. Question number 3 is coming from a guy named Jay. Jay says, I have my aptitude test on Tuesday next week for SWOLCAP, Southwestern Light Construction. My question is, when you're an apprentice, do you get paid per diem or a hotel supplied? I'm good with travel, but have a lack of knowledge in that area. So this all really depends on where you're working. I don't know, where you live or anything like that. I don't know if you're Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. I don't know. So usually per diem comes from whether the contractor wants to pay it, which in Arizona is not very common. Contractors aren't paying you per diem unless you are, I think you have to be 60 miles or further away from the union hall. I think is it. Don't quote me on that, but that's the rough idea. So if you're working 60 miles away from local 769, which is in Gilbert or Mesa, Arizona, in that area, if you're working 60 miles away as the crow flies from the union hall or further, I think it's 60 miles. I think it's 50, 60, I don't know, 40, maybe it's somewhere surrounding there anywhere. Then you'll get per diem. And the minimum per diem is, I think it's $75 or $80 a day. And you will get paid that. So that's supposed to cover a hotel and a food, which it doesn't. That doesn't even come close, because hotel alone, even if you get the cheapest hotel, Super 8, is still $80. And if you're working in the middle of nowhere, sometimes there's not even a hotel to stay in. So you're camping somewhere. But anyway, yes, they will, and they're supposed to give you per diem. Now, if you go to a place like Albuquerque, if that's where you go work as an apprentice, a lot of the contractors there are paying per diem. Now they're paying like linemen $100 or $150 a day per diem, and apprentices that might be getting paid $50 or $100 a day per diem. So it all depends on how far away you're working from the union hall, and if the contractor, if you're within that mileage distance from the union hall, if the contractor is paying per diem or not. That's typically how it goes. Now, if you're working for a contractor and for whatever reason they're like, hey, we have a job out of town for a week or 2 weeks, typically they'll either cover your hotel or they'll give you per diem to help cover your living expense. But as an apprentice, the way I look at it is it's just expected to travel. So to already have that truck trailer or that means to live on the road is only going to help you. The per diem is a perk that you should or will get, but I wouldn't always rely on the contractor company getting you a hotel or giving you per diem. I would just expect, hey, I'm going to be living on the road for the next 3 to 4 years away from home. So travel is going to be part of it, and whether I want to do the truck and trailer, or if I want to do hotels, or if I want to do Airbnbs, or if I want to do Furnish Finder, or if I want to find a room to rent on Facebook or Craigslist. I've done basically all those except for the truck and trailer. I've done the hotels, I've done the Airbnbs, I've done the room to rent on Facebook. I've done the Furnish Finder, which is an app you can go look at. It's for traveling nurses, but it's a month-to-month place. Like, you can find these different rooms or places to rent for month to month, which works out really good for us in the trade, because sometimes you have to travel, and if you're an apprentice, you might work in one place for 2 months or 6 months or whatever the case may be, and you don't want to get a lease at an apartment and move in and out and blah, 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 blah. So you want to try to find the easiest, most convenient way to live on the road in a month-to-month basis is typically the best way to do that. So per diem is out there. You just have to be working further away, you need to be working further away. I don't know how I'm trying to word that. Far enough away from the union hall to get that per diem, or the contractor's paying per diem anyway. And whether they're paying the apprentice, which they should be, if they're paying everyone per diem, you should be getting per diem. You should be getting per diem. Or sometimes they'll just cover a hotel if you got like a small job out of town for a week or two. Sometimes they'll just cover that off the top. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Hopefully you guys learned from those 3 questions. Thank you for submitting those. Going to the website, bluecollared.com, and going to the Contact Us tab. It's a good way to submit your questions because I get them directly in my inbox and I see every single question you guys submit doing it that way. If you want to learn more about the lineman trade, you go to bluecollar.edu.com/lineman. I'll have a link in the description down below to learn more. If you're trying to learn more about becoming an electrician, check the pinned comments or check the links in the description below. You can go enroll in a free course that's going to teach you the intro to becoming an electrician and things like that, to where you can learn more about the electrician trade and what it takes to get started. Yeah, with all that being said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you want to check us out on TikTok, if you want to check us out on Instagram, go check out our website, bluecollar.com. Click on the careers tab. If you're not sure what trade is for you, you can go take the free trade quiz we have on there. It's a 35 question quiz based on your answers to the questions. It'll spit you out a pretty accurate answer on what trade might be the best fit or best suit for you. So that's what I got going on for you guys. Like I said, submit your questions, as I mentioned earlier in the video, in the intro. And with all that being said, I'll catch you guys on episode 32 of CTQ.